This week, a rare physical recall is issued for the Cybertruck with some serious implications.
And a massive update. This is a software update coming to Teslas with 3 important features, but it's only available for the newest cars.
And VW is committing another $1 billion to Rivian. All that and more starts right now.
Lots of good stuff in there today, Kim.
Yes. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Also, you can listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms.
And also check out the links in the description below because we do have a weekly newsletter that goes out. A lot of you have signed up. This gives you kind of bite-sized coverage of the hottest news. The news that doesn't make it to this podcast is really interesting stuff. I love how you've set this up. We also send us as well.
All right. Let's talk about the Cybertruck recall because there are a lot of people out there that want to know about this. This is an actual physical recall, which we don't have very often in the world of these tech cars.
Yeah, for Cybertruck specifically, there's been, I believe, 6 recalls now. The vast majority of them have been software related. The only hardware, I believe, was the aero wheel covers that were replaced. And there was, I believe, a wiper assembly. This becomes the 3rd one, and this is related to an inverter, a drive inverter that converts the battery power into torque, essentially, for propulsion. What's happening is Tesla's noticed at least 5 customers that have complained about power loss. As they're trying to accelerate, the car essentially just gives up and turns off, and there's a message on the screen that says pull over. The first one was noted to Tesla back in August, so they were aware of this. And now a physical recall for all Cybertrucks, about 2,400 of them that were built between the end of July and November 6th.
So I imagine if this is one of you, you'll be notified. You go into your service center and they'll just swap it out for you. Hopefully It's a quick thing.
I think so. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Cybertruck actually making additional news. This is related to it being available now.
Yes. So if you still want that Foundation series and you were like, darn, that was the one I wanted, maybe the timing wasn't right, you can get it. And you can even get it with, this propulsion issue.
No, I'm pretty sure. Stop. I'm pretty sure they've replaced all these that are in their inventory website. But what's happening is the Cybertruck Foundation series, which was removed or discontinued, I guess, kind of lapsed back last month, is now back. But you can get it now on its inventory, on Tesla's inventory website. And they have the Cyber Beast version, which is $120,000. They have the $100,000 dual motor version as well, 0 miles. This is brand new. But it's on Tesla's inventory website in certain markets, Florida being one of them, that you can essentially order and pick it up almost immediately.
So do you think that they just still have leftover inventory at this point and they're just trying to get rid of it?
Yeah, we always hear that Tesla builds these cars on demand, but this particular case, it looks like maybe they had built additional, Foundation Series variants that were kind of slated to go out to customers, but some customers didn't take delivery, so there's a handful of them available, and that's exactly what you see when you go into there and look at the Florida market specifically. You get a couple of them that pop up that have 0 miles that are Foundation Series that have just become available.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I know the Foundation Series came with some things built into it. You get obviously the badge that says Foundation Series. I think they forced FSD in there, and there was a couple other things that were specific to the Foundation Series.
You got a pretty good value out of it when you factor in FSD. You look at some of the accessories, the off-road light bar was there, some D-rings, track hooks, things like that in the bed that were included as well. I think larger wheel, the Cyber wheels, 35-inch tires. So the value is pretty close to being worth about $20,000 more, which is what Tesla charged you for that Foundation badge. And that is, again, back and available right now, brand new, but on its inventory website.
It's interesting. I wonder how many people back when they purchased their Foundation Series would have rather just had the regular one for less money, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably true. And, some people are saying this is not a good sign because where's the 1 million plus pre-orders that were in place for the Cybertruck, and why are they already available, for pickup now? And with that number ordered, but one of the top comments here that I found really interesting was that it's not the design. Clearly, the demand is there. It's the 3rd best-selling EV in the country.
So I was just going to say, isn't this one of the best-selling trucks right now?
Yeah, demand is incredibly strong on this, given that price point. But what this top commenter essentially was saying was that instead of it being $40,000 to $69,000 with 500 plus miles of range, which is what was said, of course, it ended up being $80,000 to $120,000 and have about 320 miles of range. So basically, double the price, 65% less range, and it's still selling in pretty high volume. So this doesn't necessarily imply that they're struggling moving these.
Yeah,
especially
I think you're right on when you talk about the pre-orders. Not everyone took delivery, and they just had some extra inventory. I think that's why they're doing it. What do you guys think? Also, they're ending their wrap service for the Cybertruck. Their in-house wrap service is ending.
Yeah, well, not entirely ending. So what they're doing here is that they are offering 11 different colors that you could get wrapped. And, granted, it was only available in California, 3 service centers that were doing this, $6,500. Now that 11 color option has dropped down to 3 colors that you can get, which is rose gold, your favorite,
yes,
satin black, and satin white. So these service centers are still there. They're charging $6,500 for it, but you could get them wrapped. But I don't know exactly if they're trying to kind of regroup as far as where their energy and time is going in wrapping these Cybertrucks to doing something else.
You think Tesla has like too much going on?
Yeah, I was surprised when I heard about them doing this internally, but yeah, they're scaling back on it essentially.
Yeah, I think that the wrap industry right now is just booming. We were at SEMA last week, and there are so many cool options. I love now that you can get PPF in color and you can get things printed on it. And I think maybe just letting the aftermarket industry do the wraps is like a good move for Tesla.
And remember, they're still offering color wraps on Model 3 and Model Y, again, in select locations. So you're able to get them on some cars, but the color volume has dropped significantly.
Yeah, I just feel like if you're going to pay the money and there's so many more options out there.
That's true.
I would prefer to have it done, in the aftermarket. Personally, myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm really digging some of these options I saw at SEMA, though.
It's incredible, some of the stuff we saw, right? We're talking about color change PPF, and then there's just personalized ones. You can customize it yourself on your computer at home and get whatever you want printed specifically for the Cybertruck, because it is a product that a lot of people can try to tackle themselves.
Yeah, I mean, not just Cybertruck, though. Like the stuff we saw with like all the Model 3s out there. It's just really cool. It's really cool. If you guys haven't seen the video we posted about SEMA, go check it out. It will blow your mind.
So speaking of blowing your mind, Kim, check this out. This is Tesla's latest software update that's coming in for FSD, according to Ashok Elazwami, the head of AI and Tesla Autopilot. He sent this message out saying that 12.5.6.3, which is the latest version, is going to include, for the first time, a full stack neural net there between the highway, the city driving, and parking lots all put together. And it's going to be a lot more human-like and a lot more natural experience in lane changing. You'll get additional options as well for modifying driving preferences, driving styles, lane changing options. Basically, this is significantly better than even what you and I tested a few weeks back. And it's rapidly getting there, combining all 3, highway, city, and parking lot together.
I'm curious about this with the parking lot. Will it actually park now? Because before, when it ended at your location, it just sort of stopped. I'm curious if it can now find a parking spot for you.
Yeah, that'll be something we have to test. And again, this is only available, at least initially, on AI4 cars. So the latest Model Ys, the Cybertruck, obviously, the brand new Model 3.
So we don't personally own an AI4
we do
car.
not.
But here's the thing. I haven't even told everyone publicly, but I got in an accident in our Model 3 last week.
Yeah.
I was rear-ended. It wasn't my fault. I'm probably going to make some content around it, but I don't know what's going on with the Model 3. I don't know if it's repairable. We're still kind of waiting to see and deal with insurance companies with all that. But that was the car we had full self-driving in.
And that's the car I didn't want to get rid of. That was the one I was so high on for so many years.
This is like PJ's baby, and the back of it is pretty smushed in. I'll put a picture here if you guys want to see it. And it actually stopped in the middle of the freeway on me. And
after you were hit, by
I was hit. I was rear-ended pretty bad. But yeah, we're waiting to see. And now I think, either it's repairable and we get it repaired, or we end up shopping for a new car. I think either way, this is a sign that we need to upgrade.
You finally got your wish.
Yeah, I'm thinking Juniper.
Yeah, I'm down for Juniper. The more I read about what Juniper is capable of, possibly when it comes to maybe Tesla incorporating, 4-wheel steering, steer-by-wire, all of these things that clearly it wants the automotive industry to head towards, especially steer-by-wire. Man, if it gets that, you have me at steer-by-wire.
And just, having an AI4 vehicle for full self-driving, I really want that. I want to see everything it's capable of. I want to be able to make more content for you guys. And I'm pretty excited for this one. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was like a blessing in disguise. Who knows? Luckily, everyone's okay. But moving on to crazy things, we have another big sale. This is a huge opportunity for people who want to get into a Tesla for under $20,000.
Yeah, possibly closer to $15,000 when you factor in incentives on this. So this is another fire sale from Hertz. No pun intended on fires, but we're talking about the Hertz really trying to, kind of offload their Model 3s that are on their website right now. So as you know, back in 2021, Hertz made this effort to push and go green, purchased about 100,000 Model 3s in this partnership with Tesla. And immediately after that, Tesla begins slashing prices, the economy changes, everything kind of really alters significantly. So Hertz measures its values based on the assets that it has, which are its cars. So because this value dropped so significantly in the last couple of years on about the 100,000 or so Teslas that it had in its lots across the country, its value significantly dropped. Its balance sheet dropped. It doesn't look good for investors. And now they're trying to offload as many as they can by the end of this year. They're actually hoping to get rid of 30,000 EVs. And it's not just Teslas, but Teslas do make up a large chunk of them. But even Polestars are in their lineup as well that you can rent. But now you can have these essentially for under $20,000. And there is a tax credit, a federal tax credit for used EVs that are around $4,000. So $15,000, $16,000, you can get into one of these high mileage Model 3s over on Hertz's website. They're saying that they're down, their depreciation on these EVs has been about 90% and costing them about $540 a car per month on their lots. So they're really needing to offer this.
I have some opinions on this. First off, we attempted to rent one of these Tesla Hertz, and we made a joke that the experience was so bad that it hurts. And I don't think that they did a good job educating their customers on an EV. So I think that there was more repairs there that they didn't realize were needed. So I'm sure that increased their margins right there. And then the other thing is I'm wondering if their partnership with Uber hurt again, because now those Teslas have really high mileage.
That's true. That's true. And, this is something that has happened. Our experience, honestly, we were super excited that Hertz was going on board with this Tesla thing where initially we're like, hey, look, this is considerably cheaper than getting it on Turo. Let's go ahead and pick it up at Hertz. And they had it available on their website. We drive all the way out there. It's not there. They're not able to get it to us anytime soon. And then when it arrives, it doesn't have half the equipment and charging stuff that it says it has. And they have all sorts of issues. The car's not charged. Again, it just wasn't really thought out and, done well the right way.
And I also keep thinking about, in terms of the depreciating part of it, maybe if you have a rental car company that does Teslas, maybe it would be better to purchase used Teslas as opposed to brand new ones, because, they do depreciate.
Yeah.
That's something that's been in the news a lot recently is, I think I keep seeing Kyle Connors pop up with a picture of my Tesla went down, whatever. And they've gone down quite a bit in value. Mm-hmm. If you purchased it, a few years back, especially if you purchased it during COVID.
Yeah, that's true.
You've lost a lot of money.
I mean, that's just anyone, right?
Anyone.
Yeah.
But if you're having a rental car company and you know that these cars are going to take a beating, they're going to get high mileage on them, why wouldn't you just buy used ones for a fleet?
Yeah, I think this is a lesson learned, and absolutely, I'm on board with what you're thinking here.
All right, moving on. This is really interesting to me. Tesla might be releasing something for the Apple Watch by Christmas. So an app for your Apple Watch, just like the app on your phone. So when your phone dies, you can still get into your car with your watch.
Or you don't even need your phone, right? If you don't have your phone with you and you have your watch on, because sometimes you want to walk into the garage and grab something out of the car. And if your watch is on, you don't need to worry about, hey, where's my phone in the house? And yeah, so Elon apparently back in March tweeted or responded to someone who said their phone died. They have got an Apple Watch. Why doesn't Tesla have an official Apple Watch app that lets you, your watch communicate with the car and let you in? And Elon responded, sure, as if that's something that, we'll consider working on. Now, the latest code in Tesla's app shows, this is code in version 4.38.0, points that maybe this app is in development and possibly comes in as some sort of an Easter egg or a Christmas Tesla gift there, where you get the software update on Apple Watches.
If Tesla was going to advertise with Apple, they would, what song they'd use?
What?
the Mariah Carey one where she's like, "It's time." Ha, ha, ha. That's my stupid joke for you. Should we talk about Cybercab and their European tour?
The Cybercab's coming to Europe, 6 cities across Europe as well. And honestly, this is all happening in the next 6 weeks. So before Christmas, right in that time period, London, Paris, Amsterdam, Oslo, Stockholm, and Berlin will all get Tesla Cybercabs in their showrooms. And in Santana Row in California, it showed up in a showroom. In Texas, the Cybercab also showed up in a showroom recently. So people are able to go see this up close in person. I think it's roped off, but you get a much closer perspective to this versus the nighttime experience that everyone got to see.
I think it's really smart that they are having this on tour and people are able to see it, because I think with everything that's happened in the last week or so, I think that full self-driving, robotaxi, Cybercab, all that is going to be happening right on time.
Sooner than later, possibly. Yeah, absolutely. I know.
I think it'll be expedited. And did you hear about this one? VW is going to be giving Rivian another $1 billion. I am a huge fan of this partnership. VW is basically utilizing Rivian's architecture and software and their tech in their vehicles. It's such a great partnership.
Yeah, so in June, VW announced a $5 billion investment into Rivian that would help Rivian get the money it needs to be able to bring the R2 to market sometime in the next 12 or 18 months. Now, what looks like is going to be happening here is VW has bumped it up to $5.8 billion. So essentially, almost another $1 billion added into that. In this joint venture, like you said, the architecture is now going to be shared. The software is going to be shared. And we know that Rivian is cash strapped right now to even bring R2 to market, but they really have an incredible support, an incredible following, incredible products. So this brings in VW's financial backing to, the know-how essentially of good EVs and software, especially for Rivian, that Rivian has.
I think these partnerships are really important moving forward. And even Tesla has had some of these kind of partnerships. There was one with Mercedes, and I think there was another one with Toyota.
It was. The RAV4 EV initially, I believe, had some of the features, whether it was the motor. I feel like it was the motor that Tesla was able to kind of work in partnership with them in exchange for some $30-50 million or something like that early on. And it's funny how things have shifted, right? Tesla becomes one of the most valuable brands, not just car companies in the world. And these are some of the car companies that initially were lending them $50 million just to give Tesla breathing room. But, maybe this is beneficial to VW in its goal to make its own EVs in 2027 that have these compelling Rivian features.
I mean, if you think about the Scout brand, which is VW, that looked a lot like Rivian.
Yeah.
So possibly more than electrical components and tech, those vehicles were basically, they look like Rivian, so we'll see. And I'm getting really excited because we have a lot of 3-row SUVs that are electric that are about to be unveiled.
Long time coming for a lot of this. We had the Model X and the R1S a few years now, and finally getting so many options of 3-row eSUVs. This is the Cadillac Vistiq that was just announced. Model X competitor possibly, because the price point falls in at $78,000 or about $70,000 after incentives, and it drops in early 2025. So we're just a few months away, and it fits the gap between its lower end, more affordable Cadillac Lyriq and its higher end very soon upcoming here, Cadillac IQ, which is the Escalade IQ that's coming out. That's going to be in the 120, 140 range, I believe. So this comes in right in the middle there at 78,000, 300 miles of range. Kim, it has a lot of features that I know you wish the Model X had. Massaging seats, 4-wheel steering, and vehicle-to-home bidirectional charging as well for that $78,000 starting price.
It makes me I think Tesla is going to have to do a major refresh on the X and probably the S as well to stay competitive.
But do they care about staying competitive in this segment? They really haven't shown that they care about that more so than, wanting to be into autonomy. And
I hate that though, because families need a 3-row SUV. There's a huge market for that.
You're talking about a large full-size one, not the Model Y, which is just kind of get you by 3 rows.
You need like a real 3-row. That Model Y, I don't really even hardly consider that like a real 3-row. We need we need massaging seats. I need massaging seats. I would like that. But just like some of the features, like the vehicle to home charging, I feel like that needs to start being included in all of these vehicles. We need Wi-Fi. Why is that not in our cars, especially with Starlink.
Especially
it makes
with Starlink,
no
yeah.
sense.
I mean, refresh Model Y, Juniper is going to have some things to show, right? So we'll see what Juniper brings to the table, even though that's going to be a much more affordable version compared to, the Vistiq. But yeah.
And I think also they should put steer-by-wire in the refresh Model X if they ever did this. I'm starting rumors, but they need to. I think that needs to be a priority. Hopefully they get the Roadster out first, but then Model X.
So Kim, further specs on this, they're saying 190 kilowatt charging on the Vistiq, 0 to 63.7 seconds, air suspensions there. Of course, at this price point, you'd expect that. 5,000 pounds of towing as well. And again, this is going to make the EV9 seem like a bargain because the EV9 is around 55 to 60,000 and it has a lot of these features. This comes in, at about 80,000 starting price.
But I do feel like, this is Cadillac. It's a really, I don't know, it's a higher end vehicle.
Okay, yeah.
So yes, it's going to be more expensive.
Okay.
So yes, it has some of the same features, but when you go inside and you feel it, it's going to feel more premium. That's my opinion. That's how I felt about the Lyriq. I felt like the Lyriq is really nice on the inside.
And Kim, we've also got a new SUV coming from Hyundai. This is the IONIQ 9 that's expected to be unveiled next week at the LA Auto Show. And this one is pretty unique because it's got a lounge-like interior, is what some of the leaks are suggesting.
I think it's really cool. We've seen some sort of camouflage images of it too, and it has that light bar that a lot of the EVs now are bringing, Cybertruck, and I think this one's going to be one to take a look at for sure. It's expected also to be about the size of a Telluride.
Yeah. And, the head of design also says that this is going to have a flat floor, open space cabin on the inside as well. So this is going to be a much larger, much more open setup that kind of is nature inspired, as their head of design says, with like tech and features, and actually going to be based on the same platform you'll find in the IONIQ 5 and IONIQ 6 as well. So that's all going to be seen here in about a week or so.
How much do you think it will have in common with the Kia EV9?
I think it's going to be pretty similar in that the pricing and the specs might be pretty similar, but we're talking between 50 and 70,000, I think is where this lands. The specs and pricing haven't been announced. That's probably next week, but it will have the NACS charging port built in from the get-go, just like the IONIQ 5, because that one is also going to have the new updated version coming out here soon is going to have natively the NACS ports built in as well, and going to be built at the Meta Plant America location, which is near Savannah, Georgia, not too far from us. That's where the IONIQ 5 will be built, and that's where this IONIQ 9 will be built.
So does that mean that it will be able to get the full 7,500?
Eventually. So the battery aspect of it gets at the full 7,500. Right now, Hyundai is saying that all of these US-made EVs, IONIQ 5, IONIQ 9, are going to have the 3,750 tax credit, essentially half of that in place there. And then once their battery plant, the battery side of the plant goes online, they'll bump that up to 7,500. But there is a way you could still get that tax credit if you're leasing.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the competition in this segment. Obviously, I have 3 kids, so this is what I always look at. But I definitely am going to be looking into these, making videos for you guys. What questions do you have? Like, what do you care about most when you're looking at a 3-row SUV? Put that in the comments below because I'll take that all into consideration when I am reviewing these cars and, try to answer all those questions for you guys.
All right, Kim, did you see this? This is a pretty funny little nod over to Elon Musk. This is Xiaomi, the Chinese EV maker. That's actually a competitor to Tesla in China. They began production about 7 months ago. They've already built 100,000 EVs and sold these. And their CEO posted a picture, a little homage to Elon Musk, laying on the factory floor. There it is. Laying on the factory floor, celebrating their 100,000th EV that was built. And these are incredible EVs that everyone who's tried them out speaks really highly of them. And in China, they're about 29,000 US dollars. So they're affordable in that sense, at least if you're buying them there. And again, they're competing with Tesla. This is the SU7, which is the one that they've been building for a few months.
I am dying to get my hands on one of these vehicles and test it out. I might have an opportunity coming up. So if I do, what do you guys want to know? What are your top 3 questions you have about one of these vehicles? First of all, my first question is, how do you pronounce it?
I think it's Xiaomi.
I think that X is like a sh sound, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, what else do you guys want to know? Because I hear they're amazing. I hear the tech is awesome. One of our friends was able to drive it and send us a picture, and It was amazing.
I'm curious to see what your take is on it once you get in there, because they make several other EVs as well. And these EVs are all very attractive. They have compelling range and they have compelling tech, according to people who have tried them out. So we'll see how that stacks up to what we expect from EVs.
Yeah. China has a lot going on. And also Xpeng is showing off their new modular flying vehicle called the Land Aircraft Carrier.
Yeah, this is incredible because Xpeng's actually got 2,000 pre-orders on this, Kim. This land aircraft carrier kind of looks suspiciously like a Cybertruck as it pulls up.
See, you say Cybertruck, and I keep thinking about last week we saw the Kia PV5.
Yep, the modular cargo van.
Yeah, it looks more like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's a mothership. It's essentially able to charge these battery packs for these VTOLs, these drones, in about 30 minutes to 80%, or from 30 to 80% in about 18 minutes, they say. It starts at around $280,000. And again, 2,000 people have pre-ordered this, or maybe companies have pre-ordered this, because obviously they see some value, maybe in China at least right now, for these VTOLs that are able to pull up and within 5 minutes put this aircraft carrier inside this mothership and charge it.
It's like you're buying a helicopter and a car in one.
Yeah.
It's like a transformer. Honestly, it's like a toy company decided to actually build cars.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It's like, this should be a remote control toy.
And it supports,
but it's real.
So 2 passengers can fit inside the drone. It supports 6 flights before it needs to be recharged again. Again, it takes 5 minutes to go back inside the carrier, and 18 minutes later, it's got 80% charge. And they're expecting an annual production capacity of 10,000 units, and deliveries for the carrier begin in 2026. So maybe I'm out of the loop on the VTOL market, but it seems like the VTOL market is really getting going, or ready to get going sooner than we expect.
Traffic is so bad that I think a lot of people love this idea. Now, I'm always nervous about just flying in helicopters.
I know. Have you ever been in a helicopter? I've been in multiple times.
I have been in them a few different times. We've done helicopter tours. I get kind of nauseous in them.
Yeah.
But also, like, ever since the Kobe incident, like, I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I personally love helicopters, and I'm fascinated by them.
So would you want this? Would you be scared?
Would I want it? No. Would I take a ride on it? Absolutely. Yeah.
So do you think it's going to be more of a tourist type of thing in the U.S., or do you think people will personally own these and be using them?
I think I saw Uber years ago going on board with VTOLs, and they had approval or thoughts of doing this in Texas. So I think it's going to be definitely a transportation thing where you go from certain parts of town to other parts of town above traffic and land, in a parking lot, and you're back on the road again.
I think a lot of like CEOs that are like traveling all over will be very into this type of...
Maybe initially, but I absolutely think this is more for everyone, not just the CEO thing.
The future is crazy.
The future is crazy.
Future is crazy. All right, I guess that is all we have. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in weekly to this podcast. Also, our patrons out there, thank you so much for supporting us. Patrons get access to this podcast a day early, as well as
exclusive content. Yeah, things you've not seen before, behind the scenes footage, one-on-one Q&As with Kim and I, bonus perks as well. All of that is linked down in the description below. These Patreon members really are an incredible help to make this channel, these content, the videos, and even next week you're traveling around the U.S. with some incredible videos.
Some good content coming up that I'm going to be working on next week. And also make sure you sign up for the newsletter. There's so much information that goes into those that is not in these podcasts. And if, I'm on location and we are not able to get a podcast, we can still get those newsletters out to you guys. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care.
Bye.